Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Horses. I'm Maggie Wolfendale alongside the Big A, Anthony Stabile, and yes, Maggie back for day number 2 here on Talking Horses. And again, spring-like weather. Anthony, I mean, it's what, 61 degrees outside? It feels like April rather than December.
It's amazing. It's a little warm.
A little warm?
A little bit.
You remember that horse?
A little bit.
It's
a little warm, yeah.
Tony Dutrow?
Tony Dutrow.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anywho, Magony not planned. By the way, I had about a half a dozen people text me. Magony was not planned yesterday.
No, it was just me talking too fast.
But
which worked out well, I'd say.
Worked out phenomenally
For once in my
well.
life, talking too fast worked in our favor.
Yes.
But as always, if you want to play today's races, make sure you do so with the only way to wager, and that's with a Naira Bets account. New members, get that promo code ready. Working. Bonus 200 at nairabets.com. You know, not only is it the best way to wager, Anthony, but you can do so much on there as far as your handicapping, watching races and replays from all over the world.
And you know, Andy says this a lot. You keep the money in the game, and it is so important. You and I are going to probably bang that drum a little harder than most people because we've been in the game our whole lives, but
we need it.
We need it.
Also, we're offering that $15 bonus bet, $50 at both Aqueduct and Oaklawn, as we are showing both of them on America's Day at the races today, which starts at 2:30. Make sure you opt in as well. You get that $15 bonus, win or lose. Also, the Springboard Mile, my apologies, I was saying it was Saturday. It's actually tonight.
Tonight.
Out there at Remington, you get the $20 bonus if you hit a $25 win bet. And as always, Anthony,
you got to opt in. Thanks,
yes,
Maggie.
You do.
This is what Magony does. They set each other up. They throw the alley-oops. They let the other slam it home.
And as I was saying, FS2 today, 2:30 to 5:30, as Lafitte Pinkai will be in the will be in the host chair as Richie, JK, myself, the gang will be with you on America's Day at the races.
Do we want to give him like an LP3 moniker? No, right?
Oh, I kind of like that.
LP3?
Yeah, LP3
I like it. But I'm a big fan of doing stuff like that. I mean, I have 7.
Obviously, I am too.
I gave myself 7 nicknames. You called us Magony yesterday. So we like, you know, we like to have fun. Listen, we're talking about horses. We're not.
Yes, this is.
We're not doing brain surgery here.
This is true. And hopefully we don't need to be.
Could you imagine me doing brain surgery? Oh my God!
No, it'd be scary. I don't have a steady enough hand. I'm like shakies.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm all right, but I don't think it would be a good idea for me touching anybody else's brain.
Plus, I'd pass out. I am queasy as they come. Oh,
nah, it doesn't bother me.
No, I can't.
Blood doesn't bother me.
Yeah, nope, me done. On the floor. Anyway, hopefully you're not on the floor for race number 1. It's really early to be doing that. 7 furlongs, maiden 20. This one for the 2-year-olds. And I think the main 2 players in here are, although you like somebody different.
I do.
I think they are the 5 in here, Dario's Angel, who does come in from out of town. She's a drop down. She's actually a half sister to King for a Day. And they are readily offering her up for $20,000. I took that as a bit of a negative.
Awful sign. An awful sign. That's why I put a 4th. There has to be $20,000 in residual value of her as a broodmare. It doesn't. Am I wrong on this?
She's by Orb. It's the only problem.
I think she'd have to be worth 20. But maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know. But yeah.
She took money in both of those efforts, too. I mean, maybe that was just because of the pedigree, but she did take money. And the field she ran against, they're good. I mean, look at the first race. Winner came back with a 71 to win again. Second place, 68. The 5th place horse won. She just can't get out of the gate very
Doesn't that all point to negatives that she's in for the 20? She's run against decent fields.
Right.
Right? And she didn't really improve. Listen, they kind of threw the kitchen sink at her last time after a debut that she came out of a race that proved to be a pretty good race. Lasix, blinkers, stretched her out. And they didn't just stretch her out. They stretched her out 3 furlongs. And I know it's a big ask. Now we haven't seen her for almost 2 months. There were way too many red flags here for me. I filled her out and put her fourth, but I really don't want to. I don't want anything to do with her really in the opener, if I'm being honest with you.
The other horse in here, number 2, Because of the Brave, will come second off the claim for trainer Bill Morey. And I thought last time she kind of got off to a tardy start. It put her last going into the first turn. And then she kind of, I think Rafael Bejarano, sensing that it was a somewhat slow pace, kind of rushed her up on the backside, and inevitably she came up a bit empty. I think cutting back to the 7 furlongs, hopefully breaking a bit better, I think that makes this filly a major player. That's who I went with in here. She does get a little bit of class relief too. You went with number 8, Miss Pab, a New York bred that she has been the beaten favorite in 3 of her 4 outings.
She has. I would like to think that Jorge Vargas is going to keep her a little bit close. There's no speed in this race. I mean, if you look at this race top to bottom, there's zero speed in this race. And I'm hoping that, and then she might just be too slow, but I would imagine that there's some intent, and I'd like to see Mr. Vargas be a little aggressive with her today. She's a little bit of a different look coming down from Finger Lakes. She has the 1 race on the circuit. I'm taking a little bit of a stab with her here. And that was the other thing, Maggie. You know, I left Pat Reynolds. We talked about the Pat Reynolds horse yesterday. It's the only horse I missed in the early pick 5 sequence. Paid $8,900. I was
I'm sure a lot
entirely
of people
aggravated with myself. Well, she was my 3rd horse, and the fact of the matter is, in these bottom level maiden races, I think this is the place where you need to try to get a little creative, and that's all I was trying to do in here. I thought the 5 had some knocks.
You know who could also show more speed is a 3. Not that I think she has much of a chance, but you know, she had a little bit of brief speed. Blinkers go on, going out for Mike Maselli. I wouldn't be surprised if you're talking about, you know, a lack of speed in here, if she might be the one that provides it.
Yeah, I thought the other horse that made some sense was Amazing Dream, the 10, just for the simple fact that she's kind of, you know, we talked about rounding into form yesterday. Well, I don't know if she's rounding into form, but I think with experience, she's gotten a little bit better. And she's just taken the natural progression down the claiming ladder. She gets to the bottom, and she might just be, you know, this is where she's been running. She's been running in the maiden claimers. Right, everybody, the others are kind of dropping in. Let's see if you know, they come and play in her backyard, and she'll be a decent enough price. So I wanted to stay outside here with the 8 and 10.
I don't mind Amazing Dream. I kind of was slightly against her for the fact that I do think she's more of a turf horse and that she probably needs a bit more ground. But she gets the 7 today. She was against the track last time, in which we saw Royally Blue on the rail, wire the field, and she was kind of out the back and wide. So I think she has a little bit of a viable excuse, and she's definitely a player obviously going out for the ever dangerous Todd Pletcher barn. I was a little bit reserved with her just based upon...
I said Rudy, Todd Pletcher, I'm sorry.
Based upon my observations with her in the paddock.
Okay.
That's all. Race number 2, dramatically affected by scratches in here. We see the plain 1 Quality Stones, who look to be the main speed player in here, come out, as well as one of the other, I think, you know, players that should have been close to the pace as well in Barbara's Bank. So, you know, it's going to leave, presumably, Gentle Annie possibly favored in here, but she is so pace dependent.
Wow. I mean,
No Deal could be short, but without the, you know, without Quality Stones.
You're a brave young lady. I have chased that No Deal wagon way too long.
I know, and I'm going back to it.
I
can't believe I did that. I just thought that with the scratches, who's going to provide the pace in here?
Yeah, I mean,
Dazzling Speed could. Absolutely.
That's what I would assume. I would assume Dazzling Speed's going to go. I would also assume, now I'm not going to tell you I handicapped this for scratches or redid the picks. I did not. Doesn't Gringotts, second off the layoff, in now what is a paceless race, almost have to be a little bit closer if you include how aggressive Trevor McCarthy's been riding?
I mean, I guess, but her speed came when she was going longer.
But there's just no speed in here, Maggie. Unless
Dazzling Speed is the fastest.
Right, she's the fastest, and I think I want to be the one
the stamina calls into question, and I just thought No Deal, it kind of draws her into the race a bit more. She was awful last time. I totally get it.
She was awful last time. She was awful three back. She wasn't good 2 back.
The only good race she's had this year is the one first off the layoff.
Yeah, and that was in the slop.
I just liked kind of her positioning. I know the last race gives a terrible taste, but I'm hoping Ruben Silvera is aggressive with her. Just go. I mean, if Dazzling Speed gets on an all-out send, fine. But at the end of the day, there's some backlash that No Deal I feel as though can
I
fall
don't disagree. I just, where has her form been? Her form has been awful.
Yeah, it's gotten worse and worse.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And Gringotts, I just felt as though she's probably better going longer.
Probably is.
But your reasoning makes sense for the second off the layout. She's kind of been consistent in her figures. You kind of know what you're going to get with Gringotts.
Correct. That's exactly right. It's not, consistency is the wrong word, but at the very least, you kind of have an idea that.
And you can place her.
And you can place
in
her.
amongst.
She's supposed to be.
But Gentle
closer
Annie,
to
I
a
mean,
slow
look,
pace.
she's run well, but I think her better performances come when she gets some hitting up front.
She's got trouble today because there's just, I mean, unless Dazzling Speed puts on a display on the front end, that she's up against it today.
Race number 3, a optional allowance for the New York breds going a mile. And I thought this was a tough race, Anthony. I mean, we see 9-5 on Thorny Tail. He ran well last time. I'm not going to take that away from him. But time and time again, we see, for the most part, these Jamie Ness horses, they are just otherworldly at parks, and then they're just kind of mortals when they come away from there.
I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah, and I don't trust the park's form overall. I certainly don't trust it with, when certain trainers come in and it doesn't hold up, and the Jamie Ness horses don't hold up here. He ran really well in here, Thorny Tail, because him and Prince of Pharaoh. Pace came apart. And him and Prince of Pharaoh's really kind of went at it for 6.5, 7 furlongs of the mile affair, and they just got cut down late by Kaz's Beach, who got a great ride from Trevor McCarthy. I think that was his first.
And that was an upset that day.
It was a big price. Yeah, it was a huge price. I want to see now. Here's the other thing with Thorny Tail. As well as he ran last time, if we're just talking about pure speed figures, it was anywhere from 6 to 14 points lower than his Parks form. So it kind of holds up that he came up here and he did not run as well as he ran at Parks. He ran well enough.
I just like that he came back. I mean,
Agreed.
Why do you like Prince of Pharaohs?
So
I thought he was. Honestly, I thought he was bad last time.
Okay.
Because he was the one on the outside. Yes, he was part of that pace, but Thorny Tail comes back and beats him.
I think he was given a little bit of an indecisive ride last time. I think there was too much cat and mouse going on. And I think that was more on Prince of Pharaohs than on Thorny Tail. How you said Thorny Tail kind of re-rallied to beat him. Mm-hmm. I think with Kendrick climbing aboard, and Kendrick's ridden this horse before, I think Kendrick's either going to let Thorny Tail go or he's going to go. I don't know how it plays out. But when I'm skeptical of the other speed, I trust that Kendrick is going to do the right thing. And let's not forget this here, Maggie. The difference in here is Yankee Division's here too. And Yankee Division's not a horse without speed. I don't know if
once it seems to have eluded him.
It does. But
and maybe he's just not that fast when there's other pace in the race.
And you'd have to imagine, though, that with a horse like Bourbon Bay in here, they're going to try and get this pace to heat up a little bit as part of an entry. So I'd be very surprised if Yankee Division was not as forward as he could possibly be. You're right. He might not be fast enough. But I think Yankee Division's going to be a bit aggressive and try and put some pace on here. I think it puts Prince of Pharaohs.
But I don't understand how
I think it puts Prince of Pharaohs in a stalking position today. And I am not overly concerned with him passing horses. He passed horses in the mud back in September.
Okay. He beat a nice horse in Water's Edge that day.
And I know that, Water's Edge broke through the gate that day, and, he was kind of fortunate to win. I get the whole thing. But I think with the draw and the way this race is going to play out, I would like to see Kendrick off the pace. With that said, if he finds himself on the lead, I'm not upset.
Okay.
I like this horse a lot today. I think this horse is going to run really well today. I think this horse, given a more decisive ride, is the best horse in here.
Okay. I mean, I can see what you're saying. I just thought he was bad. Durgan's Call is a little bit of a pet of mine. Mm-hmm. We both went with Linda horses. We just went in different directions. And I just think he gets the pace today. I mean, not that it ever necessarily materializes out here, but he's a horse that has done really well in Linda Rice's barn. When he came back from the July to October layoff, he looked like a different animal. And I think he's just really, fit in, and her programs really worked well for him. And yes, I know he came back and he won the 25, which isn't as tough. But, and he is, like I said, he needs something to close into. But I think he ultimately gets it today. So I went with Durkin's call.
You know what surprised me about him? He still has this condition.
Yeah, he's won a lot.
He's in the allowance condition here today.
I know he's not necessarily the winningest type.
Yeah, but it's a problem with 5 wins. You'd have figured he got through this condition already.
Yeah,
it was surprising. As often as he's claimed.
Yeah, also true.
Yeah.
All right, race number 4. It is a claiming 8, going 6.5 furlongs, and
pick 6 time.
Yeah, it does start the pick 6. That's right. Today we have 9 races on the card, and cause of action in here, number 7, for Eddie Barker. I kind of, picking up. You have to take sometimes those short comment lines with a grain of salt. I just think, this is his win. What?
This is his win.
Way back when.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the last board placing for a horse on the circuit on a fast track. What? On the circuit. How about that?
This is the last
what? The last time a horse in this race hit the board on a fast track on the NYRA circuit.
Oh my God. Okay, that's an interesting
That's why I put this
fact.
Race up, because I think, Shamrock hit the board once, I should say. Mm-hmm. I think that just goes to show.
Wait a minute. It says you have Skylar Scramjet.
I do have Skylar Scramjet.
Whoa, interesting.
I do have Skylar Scramjet.
Okay.
That's awesome. You really picked Skylar Scramjet? Ani? Because you're a mag and I'm Ani. So.
Okay. I would. You know what? Forget about cause action. Why do you like Skylar Scramjet?
I don't like the rest of them. I want the horse. So here's what I am. Now this is a little bit of an eccentric pick here. He kind of comes up with a race. It's a nice way to put it. Stupid. He kind of comes up with a race every blue moon at this point. And I feel like with Jalan Samuel being as aggressive as he's been, and this is a horse who in the past was not without speed now, and he still shows some speed from time to time. Shamrock's going to the lead in here.
Yes.
And I would like to imagine that Jalan is going to be aggressive with Skylar Scramjet today for 2 reasons. One, it's when he's most successful. 2, I don't see anybody else in here. Maybe our Bodie boy. I don't know about EJ's Revenge. His speed seems to have eluded him recently. At the very least, he kind of breaks and then drops it, just sucks himself out of there.
But at least he's on the outside.
Right, he's on the outside. And I guess he's a player. I wanted a little bit of a different look. I wanted a horse that has back races. And here's the other thing about Skylar Scramjet.
I don't go way back.
You do, but he's a horse that he has run better at Aqueduct than anywhere else.
I'm not going to. Yeah,
and he's going to be
a
giant price. And I don't trust these horses. This is the first time. The last time he dropped in for this level, he won in February. So I think, when he plays the game at the bottom, and really the truth of the matter is, when he's at the bottom, he runs his better races. I think he's a little interesting at a price today. I didn't trust Shamrock. I don't really like the rest of them, so I'm going to take a little shot with him.
I don't trust Shamrock. Coming in off of the voided claim, he was virtually eased as the favorite. And, sometimes he does have to work quite hard to get to the lead. It seemed, or at least as of late, he's had to do that. But on the surface of things, he is the speed of the speed here, at least on paper. So we'll see how that plays out. I just took cause of action because not necessarily facing better last time, but I just thought he was ridden somewhat hesitantly as he was down on the inside with that loose horse running throughout the field. And we saw Kendrick, eventually win the race by taking horse nearly on the outside
fence.
It
was on 7-path, yeah.
Right, to win. So everybody else just being very hesitant, I think, and being reserved in their riding.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely. And it was his first race back in a while. Before that, he was facing Baby Yoda and some other better horses than what he's facing here. For me, I just kind of picked him on the fact that he looks to be the class of the field, and I hope that Sammy Camacho does keep him somewhat close here and it doesn't let him drop too far out of it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. And then EJ's Revenge, numbers-wise, he kind of fits with these, but this is first off the claim for trainer Bernard Dunham, and over the past 5 years, he's 0 for 14 here at NYRA.
Yeah, so again, you got to watch that Mid-Atlantic form. No offense.
Oh my God.
Heard it
Hits
yesterday.
keep coming.
Not on.
All right. Are we breaking here?
No, we can do one
Break
more.
out to 5? Okay.
Let's do one
All right.
more. Francisco, wow, Francisco getting assertive after 5. Sounded like me just now.
Race number 5 is a maiden 40, 6 furlongs here, and we do have some first-time starters that I think are players. At the end of the day, you went with the Rudy Rodriguez first-time starter, number 3 in Traffic, but 5-2 on the outside runner, number 9, Afilada, for Rob Falcone. I chalked it out here for the fact that maybe in some instances she's just kind of run, as far as figures are concerned, similar figs to the rest of the field here, but I think she had a legitimate excuse in her first start, going to 6 furlongs, in which we saw Moray Fire wire the field that day. She hopped up the start. She kind of raced 4 to 5 wide throughout. It was just kind of, let's give her an education, see if she can finish, and that's what she did with Joelle. Then she tries the mile against a world better horses and Tap the Faith and
Stakes
Moray.
fillies,
Yeah, and so now she's back to reality. This is the spot she's supposed to win for Rob Falcone second off.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a ton of sense.
You went with In Traffic, though, a first-time starter by Cross Traffic.
I just like this horse's work tab, and I haven't seen this horse work, but this is one of these steady half-mile breezes. These are the work tabs that Rudy's horses usually win first time out at, and I don't think she's going to have to be much to beat these, as well as Alphalata has run. She's no world beater, obviously. And I just thought this filly made a little sense in here. Should be a little bit of a better price. It's a spread race for me. I want to use 369. I thought Bad Breath coming in from Finger Lakes, probably going to get overlooked at the winner. She's 7-2 morning line, but I would imagine she'll get a little overlooked. I thought she ran pretty well in her first start and stretches it, gets the extra half.
You don't have her anywhere, though.
396. Have a third.
Did I number this wrong? Yes, I did. Oh my gosh. That's my fault.
Okay.
I numbered this wrong.
It's the first time for everything.
So what happens when you do 3? Apparently I can't count. So sorry guys, completely my fault. It's supposed to be 5-6, 9-5-6-3. 9-5-6-3 for me. My fault. So Bad Breath, as you said, ran very well. Actually comes in here with the best figure of anyone, and wired that day by Tivoli Gardens, and I thought she rallied well. Sometimes I get a little bit leery of the Finger Lakes form coming in here, and 2, a lot of trainers talk about the difference in surfaces, where we have that kind of sandy, looser track, and up at Finger Lakes it's a little bit of a harder,
cuppier track. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So sometimes it translates, sometimes it doesn't. I'm a little interested in number 5, the first-time starter for Bob Robato. Not necessarily his MO to win with first-timers, but Tweaked, a daughter of Dialed In, and that's a good sprint pedigree on top. And the Dam, a greatest stakes place dirt sprinter, a half to a stakes winner, going longer on the dirt. And I thought those works are pretty good.
She got that 47 out of the gate.
Yeah.
And it was 47-2 out of the gate, third fastest of 108 works.
Yeah.
Now we don't know if she was under a drop. We don't know if she was under a drive.
Out of the training track chute, it's a little bit shorter than the half mile, so those times will be a little bit faster. But anything sub 48 is very good.
Very good on that track, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought she was a little interesting, showing up here for the 40. My problem with your horse, which I think can win in Traffic, is that just based upon pedigree, it's much more of a route type.
Yeah,
pedigree.
and she could absolutely. I was going to say the same thing. She could absolutely need this race. This is just a little bit of a jumping off point, perhaps, but I'm hoping she fires first out.
All right, my apologies for the bad numbering, as we'll take a break here on Talking Horses as we do kick off the late pick 5 in race number 5. We'll be back with the late pick 4 after this.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Maggie and Anthony along with you, and we have a great day as far as New York sired horses tomorrow.
Yeah.
With the Great White Way and the Fifth Avenue.
Yes, a couple of thoroughfares in Manhattan that are probably lit up beautifully right now for Christmas time.
Yeah,
Have
for
not
sure.
made it into the city yet. I guess that could happen, but it probably won't.
Won't happen for me.
When you live on Long Island, you have all the great neighborhoods in Long Island. We do a pretty good job in Howard Beach and in Queens, Brooklyn, Dyker Heights, everything's, so you don't really have to do too much.
No, I mean, even I've noticed that metropolitan New York takes decorating very seriously. It's not like this back in Maryland whatsoever.
And it's not like this in a lot of places, but if you want to just drive around Long Island, a couple of the neighborhoods near Belmont, a couple of neighborhoods here by the Big A, everything's done up really nicely. So it avoids us a trip into the city.
Yes, it does. As race number 6, optional allowance for the 2-year-old fillies, 6 furlongs here. And this was a race I kind of struggled with because I wasn't sure about No More Mischief.
Okay.
But then I reverted back to her
Okay.
because the figure at face value is very slow. But Todd has great numbers with this. For horses that broke their maiden first time out and returning in dirt sprints, he's 23 for 82. So they typically get the job done. She ran very well here. Granted, maybe it wasn't the strongest of fields, but on the other side of that, I don't think a lot of these come out of very strong fields. She was game here. She took some bumps from the runner-up, Pacific Grove, who did come back to disappoint as heavily favored choice at Turfway, I think, in her next start, though.
You see, to me, and with the 2-year-olds, this comes into play a little bit more. When they win the way she did first time out, the time's important and the fig's important, but she got so much education in that race, right? She took a little bump at the start, and then she was forward throughout. I mean, you look at the running line. You don't see these running lines often. First by a head, first by a head, first by a head, first by a neck. Just duking it out around the racetrack.
Whole way.
And it wasn't like she dueled, right? She put one away, and Pacific Grove came and called on her right away. So it wasn't like it was just a speed duel, speed favorite in the racetrack. They knocked heads the whole way, and she won the bob. No, she put one away and was accosted by Pacific Grove almost immediately. I'm impressed by things like that. I know she didn't run that fast, like you said, Maggie. None of them have really run that fast. And she gets a couple of months to mature. We know she has some speed. I'm not going to tell you I'm leaning on her today because that would be kind of foolish. But man, she just made a lot of sense to me in a race where they all kind of look the same.
Yeah, they
I know
do.
she's a little battle tested after that first and only start.
That's the thing. And we both use Slow Crossing, who is the 3-1 morning line favorite in here for Rudy Rodriguez. She comes out of a state bred maiden 40 in which, I mean, I know I was a little negative on the open 40 that No More Mischief comes out of, but I would gander to say that it's actually a worse race. Now, she won the right kind of way because at least it looks as though this race isn't completely devoid of speed. We'll see what plays out on the racetrack, but she won, and you know that she can get up and pass horses.
Yeah, I also wonder if, when all's said and done, she's going to want more ground. Right? She's a half to.
That's my notes too.
She's a half to Linda the Colt.
Edition Farm. Chestnut, Distorted Humor.
Yep.
Name what the heck? When you put me on the spot like that, I can never think of it.
I can't remember.
It'll come to me.
But I mean, he kind of moves like a horse that wants more ground, right?
My notes say needs longer. So I mean,
and Rudy said that
made
to me.
He eat humble pie when she won. Going to 6.
They accidentally entered this horse in an open race.
Yeah.
Not realizing he was a state bred.
Oh wow.
And they scratched him out of the open race. They ran him in the state bred race. Ran her in the state bred race, and she got the job done. That was a hungry field.
Hungry. I mean,
She
the 6th
beat
place
last
winner
time.
came back and won, but won with a 33.
Yeah, that was a hungry field last time. So she made up some ground, but she's going the same 3/4 of a mile, and I think I think Ruski and No More Mischief are a couple of fillies. I put her second, but I think Ruski and No More Mischief are a couple of fillies. One who's run faster in Ruski, and one of No More Mischief who I think has the potential to run a little faster.
Well, Ruski, as you were saying, yeah, she
Too
ran
early.
that too early. Well done. So she has a lot of turf pedigree, to say the least. So hence the 3 for starts to begin her career on the turf, and then ships her up to Finger Lakes, and she wins. And looking back at who was in there, it was a comparable field to what she meets here. It's not as if
Correct.
they were bums in there.
Nope.
So she might be actually coming out of the best race. But my problem is, and Jeremiah, I love you, don't get me wrong, but at Naira this past year, the barn is 19 for 216. So all that winning for the 17% here on the year has come out of town.
Right.
The horses just don't seem to be running as
You're
well
looking at
here.
you're looking at a sub 10%, right? Yeah, I mean, Maya's had a little bit of a rough go of it this year down here. But look, she's coming in, like you said. She did not run against any. That was not a field full of slouches last time.
No.
So, but I mean, there's some other horses in here too, and I know we got to get moving. But Royally Blue ran well last time.
I think she was with the track last time.
I do too, but but there was such a marked improvement from the first start to the second start that maybe my man Steve Casares fixed whatever was wrong first time. She came back in just 17 days, so something could have happened in her debut that something behind the scenes, because she ran well enough. She was with the track. I don't disagree, but she's also a horse that came back quick and ran well. It's an interesting race. I'm hoping No More Mischief got a lot out of her debut.
Yeah.
Little freshening for the 8.5, 9 weeks, and she come back and fire a decent shot.
Yeah, although she was a relatively inexpensive purchase.
I don't like
daughter
the
of
name, though.
Into Mischief.
No More Mischief.
Oh, it's
I like
not
mischief.
fun.
I like mischief.
We know. Race number 7, 6 furlongs claiming 40, and this is a war of these open 40, 50s. You get some serious bat class types of horses in here. We see 5-2 on number 7 in here. Answer in. I kind of defaulted to him just because he comes out of a race. Now, New Bomb wired the field that day, came back to run poorly at Mahoning Valley in a stake, but Cost Basis came back to win with the 91, and Brad Cox in dirt sprints with a 50% drop is 19 for 61 over the past 5 years. That's 31%. I thought he ran well in the context of that race, which seemed to be dominated more towards the front end. I know he comes back off a little bit of a break, but two, I caught up with Brad's New York assistant, Dustin Dugas, and they're not having horses here in New York. So this winter, they're done. They're just going to go to Turfway and have them in Saratoga come springtime. So it kind of feels like, maybe they're just, being aggressive, getting their wins in, and this horse lands in a good spot. Because he's not coming home.
So he's not coming home. That's great information. I'm going to tell you why that's great information. I was a little leery of this horse going in. They ran him for a tag for the first time last time for the 80. He's not worth 80. My biggest problem with him is his races out of town overall are better than his 2 on this circuit. I loved him 2 back when he was the favorite. Man, was he awful. He was so bad in Saratoga, it's not even funny. He didn't run 2 steps. And then we didn't see him for almost 2 months. And now we don't see him for 2.5 months. He's going to be a short price. He can win, but I'm kind of fading him a little bit today.
Okay.
I thought...
You like Happy Farm, who I do not trust. Yes, there is back class. Yes, though, a lot of that good running came for a guy who is under
for
federal
Jason
indictment.
Service. I'm not saying
Then
that
he
you're not
comes
wrong.
back for Linda. Linda had an entry. Obviously, that's why he raced for purse money only. The other part of the entry was scratch at the gate. And, I'm watching them in the paddock. I thought he looked great for him. He's never a horse that I necessarily warm up to in the paddock. And then usually when I watch him on the track, I'm like, well, he looks as though he's moving well and blah, blah, blah. It was the complete opposite when he came back. And now we haven't seen him for nearly 3 months. He ran fine. But I don't trust him.
Okay. So what I like about him is this. He passes horses now. And if Al Cools wants to go on a mission from the outside, he can. I personally think we're going to see Trevor McCarthy leave out of there with Happy Farm and kind of play the break a little bit. If Al Cools wants it, he's going to let Al Cools go. And Al Cools is faster than him at this point in their careers. There's no way around that. But
I mean, Al Cools'
Happy Farm's
performance.
a fast horse, man.
I will say, too, on the flip side, in Happy Farm's defense, I think he was a little bit against it last time. Al Cools, I think, benefited from being forward on a track that may have been kind to being forward that day. And we also see Free Enterprise come back in here. I just thought, I wanted Ansarin, who did do a little bit of running in that last race, coming out of a tougher spot against these horses that we've seen. Now, we both used number 4 Zoomer in here, who I have him third. I could have had him second. I don't understand the turn back. That's the one. I mean, he's run well at this distance in the past, but his really good efforts have come going longer. But he can pass horses. And last time at Parks, it was a 4-horse field. He was from the outside. He was sent up after a horse Rocco and Luke, who was the odds-on favorite. It was a fast pace. It ultimately, I don't want to say came apart because Rocco and Luke finished second. And Magic Michael's a decent horse who came back with an 85 in his subsequent start. But I don't know about the 6.
If I didn't have so much love for Happy Farm, I would have picked Zoomer today.
I love Zoomer. Obviously, we had him in the barn. He is one cool dude. He's just a cool racehorse. And I've got a lot of love for him. But I just wasn't enthralled with the 6 furlongs, though. These turnbacks do often work, and he hasn't been turned back to the 6 furlongs in a while. So I could definitely see him winning, and he's going to be a decent price.
Yeah, he's going to be a good price for a barn that's heating up a little bit, Robbie Falco.
Oh, they consistently do well.
Yeah.
As race number 8, Allowance, we can call it that, going 6 furlongs. Eloquent Speaker off the 6-day rest. Natalya Lynch, she has done this once before, and it resulted in a win. In fact, her only win first off the claim is when she did this last year with Halo City.
Yeah, quick turnaround. I didn't know what to do with her because that race last time was the first real effort she put forth in like 9 months, 8 months. And now she's got to do it back in 6 days, like you said. She did well with this in the past. One win, she's 1 for 1. I'm not going to tell you she's going to beat me, but I can't take her at a short price.
You took Bastet, who I presume you think is just going to wire these.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Bastet and Trevor just go. She got a little late on him last time, started drifting in and out. It was her first start in 7 weeks, 6 weeks. I know she's had some time between again, another 5 weeks, but let's just say I want to see Trevor just blast her off today and really just try and bottom this bunch out. I guess Madeira could go, but I think Trevor's going to outhoof that one with Bastet early and just try and lead him on a Murray's Chase. I thought the other horse that made a little sense in here was Fight On Lucy. Fight On Lucy, if you throw out the Trini Luck race, when she had a little bit of trouble in there, I think Fight On Lucy, and here she is taking down the two other named
Great
conditions.
ride here by Benji.
Yeah, and she's going to have some pace in here with Bastet. Maybe Madeira presses, and she beat Brattle House and Courageous Girl that day. I think they'd both be short prices in here.
Sure.
So I thought then she gets 2 starts against the important one in Bank Sting without the Lasix. She gets her Lasix back. She gets huge class relief, right? And if she gets a little pace to run out, I think she's an interesting alternative at a decent price.
Okay, you did not use Jade's Jelly whatsoever. Yes, on the surface of things, she does look more like a turf horse, and her turf form in her last 3 starts hasn't been as good. But as far as class, and as I said, this is about as weak as allowance
no question
races
about
come.
it. Straight A.
And the horses that she's faced in all those allowance races, whether it's on the turf or the dirt, worlds better than what she.
You're not wrong. I don't think she's.
And last time she chased a pace that ultimately came apart. I know, and she's been huge prices in all those efforts. I think she's a little interesting. And 2, I thought she looked great going into that November 19th effort. So I think it's just a class
Yeah,
gig.
I didn't care for her. I could see people that do, but she wasn't.
She's not slow.
No.
So.
That one race, I mean, that one Saratoga race, though, is really, I mean, overall in her form is the exception to the rule.
Yeah, but I mean,
She's not going to control an easy pace.
Doesn't her September 5th effort? I know she was beating 7 1/4 lengths, but
How much real
Liver,
running?
Lady Traveler, Glass Ceiling.
How much real running you think she did in there?
I know. I understand what you're saying.
You know, she's going to be a short price.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Fight
The
on
rest
Lucy's
of them
going to
in
run
here.
really well in here today.
Okay. I'm not against Fight on Lucy whatsoever. It's race number 9, claiming 16, non-2 life. And as far as favorites go, it's number 6, Speed Effect. As he does drop in class a bit here for Carl Broberg, I didn't like the looks of him in that replay, I'll be honest. But let's check out the horse that we both put on top here. And maybe he's a little bit of a trap, but Actuary actually ran pretty well in his first dirt start.
Boy, I like this horse. I mean, I preach about staying. There he is outside, not a great start. He kind of drags himself a little bit. He breaks outward, and then we'll watch the whole race. I mean, like you said, Max, this is his first dirt start. Breaks slowly from the outside, has that little bit of the stumble. He's going to wind up last. And then he goes on a forward march, basically from start to finish.
And it's almost like he's a little bit green here from the kickback.
Right.
Or not green, but
Not-
just like,
not used to it.
what's
Right.
going on?
And then just
And then
watch.
Kendrick takes him to the rail, which he finds a nice little nook in which he's not getting kicked back, and he just starts running.
And he could have benefited here from that 4.5 lengths between the 6th horse and himself, because like you said, it looked like he was shying away from the kickback. And once Kendrick gets him alone, right, even though the horse that was inside, he's not worried about the horse that was inside, he's worried about the horses in front of him. Because even now, Kendrick's going to go back inside where there's nobody there to keep this horse out of the kickback. And now he's running. And now you've committed in there. There's nothing you're really going to do. You're going to see as he gets to the turn, he's going to get himself.
And by this point, he's actually taking to it, because when they turn for home, you can see he's covered in the dirt.
Correct. And now he's been running for 5/8 of a mile, for a half mile. He's been running every step of the way in here. See, he gets into a little bit of a position there. He splits horses nicely. Listen, we're analyzing a 16-2 life claimer like it's a derby prep.
Yeah.
This horse ran.
It's just laughable.
This horse ran every single step of the way.
Right. And the 1-2 finishers are the ones that were on the front end.
I love this horse today. I might sound like an idiot when all's said and done. I absolutely love this horse today.
Is he your single?
Yeah, probably. I don't trust these other two really wanting to go a mile. And I think if you, with all of that experience under his belt now, from that one, again, we talked about it with No More Mischief earlier, how these horses, some horses don't learn as much in one race as they learn in 4 races. This horse got an education and a half last time. I like this horse a lot today.
All right, it's all about Actuary. The British bred for Rob Atras in the last for both of us. Breaking Stones, though, he's a speed, but also Speed Effect, you would think, would soften him up.
They almost got a hit, right? And this, I mean, I think if Actuary breaks a little bit better with that experience, I like him a lot today.
All right, well, that'll do it for Talking Horses. As always, play today's card. Anthony gave you a single in the last. Make sure you use your Naira Bets account. You get that $200 deposit match bonus when you use promo code BONUS200. Check out NairaBets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We also have a good promotion going on with Oaklawn. If you bet $50 at both tracks, you earn that $15 bonus no matter what. Make sure you opt in. And then tonight, little Remington action with the Springboard Mile. Hit a $25 win bet, and you get the $20 bonus as well. Again, you must
Opt in.
Get off your phone, man. No, I'm kidding. America's Day at the Races. See, Anthony's opting in on his phone.
That's what I'm doing.
Taking it quite literally. America's Day at the Races. We are back on FS2 today, 2:30 to 5:30 racing action from here at Aqueduct as well in Hot Springs at Oaklawn. Chris Griffin on the mic once again here today throughout the week, as John and Brielle will be back after the holiday break, and Chris is up next with a reprise of Scratches and Changes.
Thank you, Maggie. Welcome to live racing at Aqueduct on a Friday. The track is fast, Here are today's scratches and changes for live racing. Race 1 started the early pick 5. Number 1, Love Unlimited, is 1 pound over. Scratch the 9, London Gold. In race 2, started the early pick 4. Scratch number 1, Quality Stones. Scratch number 8, Barber's Bank.